to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
On the program today, we had to check in with our people down in New Orleans who's still dealing with power outages, food shortages, among many other things after Hurricane Ida went through. Culture Aid NOLA is on today. We have Gian, Durand, and Stefan. How do I say your last name?
Fouchar, the owner of Round 2. Stefan Fouchar.
Stefan Fouchar. I was going to say Fouchar, but you know what I'm saying? I was like, let me just go ahead and ask. You know, get it right. Well, you know, y'all from down bottom New Orleans, you know, so the pronunciations culturally, you know what I mean, is different. So we got to get it right. I'm from up top. So, you know, things get mixed around, but I appreciate y'all coming on today. Gian, I want to start with you. And we're going to have a series of organizations on our program because I just want to continue the conversation of what you guys are dealing with down in New Orleans right now. Where are things at today for most of the people who have not been able to recover? Like, what's really needed today?
I mean, thank you so much, Ebro, for having us on. You know, Culture Aid NOLA started during the pandemic. We were a food distribution organization for the culture bearers of our organization. And that's people in the entertainment and hospitality industry that was hit the hardest, by COVID. And we've just like morphed into this food distribution that we had no idea we were going to become. You know, we just started off doing 2 days a week, just no barrier food service, saying, you know what, if you're hungry, come get some food. We're not going to ask you for your ID, your light bill, right. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, that's just insulting. If you're in a food line, you're in a food line, you know, and it's just ridiculous that, you know, these other organizations are saying, hey, prove to us that you have to be in this line. You know, that's just. Yeah,
I didn't up here in New York during the pandemic. I don't think if you lined up in a pantry line and you needed some food, they was just giving you food. So I never even heard of a situation where you had to provide proof.
Oh, God. Yeah. So we're the only no barrier food bank or food distribution in New Orleans.
Wow.
Yes. And I didn't realize that. You know, I was brought on as the president to help. I'm an attorney, so just to help get it set up, right? So I had no idea. You think you make these stereotypes. You're like, oh, if you're hungry, there's just tons of places. You go to your church, you go here.
Right.
Oh, no, that's just not the case at all. You need to prove to them you're hungry, you know, which was just mind-boggling. Right. And so I know you want to know about Ida, but I just want to give you like a preface of like the situation that people are just dealing with, right? As far as hunger and food insecurities, you know, the people in our line or people who go to work every day. The cars are nice cars. They're cars that, you know, people who you think have jobs, have, you know, security are driving, right? This is not people who are quote unquote poor or need the help. These are people who go to work every day who are in our line.
Still don't have enough money to make it happen.
Yeah. And I think people don't understand that. I mean, just give you a scenario. I mean, New York, y'all make a little bit more than we do. But hypothetically, let's say you make $100,000 a year. You make 50, your partner makes 50, right? You have a family of 4 with a mortgage, bills, health insurance. You're struggling.
Up north, we call that working poor. And there's about 150,000 people in New York City who live in shelters, but can't afford to get a place to live, and they work full time.
And exactly. And so I think that's what people think, right? I mean, and I just want to give you a last staggering statistic is like, to get benefits, you have to make under $13 an hour. I mean, a family of 3 can't make more than $28,000 a year to get benefits. I did not know that. That shocked me. I'm like, what? Right. So the system is constantly rigged for failure. I mean, that's another show, another day. But, you know, so then, you know, so we didn't think we were going to get in disaster, right? We were just here to create a no barrier food bank for culture barriers. Our lines just started growing and growing with just everyone, right? I mean, it was just, you know, people would wait in line 4 hours. We would start at 10, people would be in line at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was just staggering. So Ida hit, and within 6 hours, we were on the ground. You know, and it was really not a plan. I mean, chefs and restaurants were passing by and talking to us and calling us. It's like, take our food, cook it. So we were cooking. You know, we had lines of people because there was no electricity, just, you know, coming for food, just regular food, you know. So we just said, okay, we have to act. So we created an event last Wednesday called Fill the Fridge. And it shocked me. We had an 8-mile wait, 8 miles of cars,
8 miles.
8 miles of cars. I was blown away. It was ridiculous. And every kind of car you can think of was in that 8-mile line. We started at about 2 o'clock. I think we started at 8. We only had to turn away 50 cars. So
Well,
that
listen,
is,
God bless, right?
I
That y'all
mean,
was able to provide for that many people.
yes, and we rented out a stadium, and I mean, they gave us a stadium, and we had volunteers, and it was great. But I think people need to realize that food insecurity doesn't have a race or color or income. It could happen to all of us, especially during this pandemic, and especially in New Orleans. We're a food desert, we are culture, we're tourism based economy, which is horrible. Another show, right? So this pandemic, the hurricane, is just setting people back.
It exacerbated an already tough scenario.
Yes. Yes.
And the reason I wanted to have you all on, and we're gonna have other organizations on from the New Orleans area, not only because New Orleans is near and dear to my heart. Used to be down there all the time in the 90s. Wild Wayne is a brother of mine. Uptown Angela, DJ Rowe, Slab One. I used to spend a lot of time down there, but also because time and time and again, because of climate change and just the things going on, the storms that are hitting y'all down there are harder and harder and more aggressive. Complicated by the things you just articulated, the pandemic, and an economy that's just based on tourism, right? When nobody's traveling, there's no entertainment, no shows, everybody's getting hit. And then just being in the state of Louisiana and dealing with the racism and the way money flows in the state and those other challenges that you guys have to deal with. What I wanted to dig into today, and Steph, maybe you can help out with this. Once again, anybody tuned in right now, Culture Aid NOLA, NOLA, Culture Aid. When contributing to an organization like yours, help us understand how much money it takes to feed a family, like each day, right? To get the food, and because that helps, me, myself, and maybe even people listening right now understand that, look, I need to contribute X to help X amount of families for this one day, because you guys got to do this every day.
Right. Well, I look at it like this here. So I own a restaurant and bar down in New Orleans, Louisiana. And my whole thing is just to come off of that a little bit. I've never been the type to wait on nobody or no one for no kind of assistance or whatever, So when this thing hit, it was natural for me. It was an automatic to get whatever I had in my kitchen. Bust those, we did like maybe about 2,500 plates a day, hitting all these different. It got to the point to where, like she said, we got miles and miles and miles long, full of cars. People coming from these parishes that was hit like really, really hard, and it touches me because I didn't realize that during times like this, food is like the most important thing. Despite, the possessions and materialistics and, people or pets that, these people, lose during these catastrophes, it's like food is what sticks out, so when it comes to like contributing to food and stuff like that, man, it takes a pretty penny. Just imagine like just getting all the food that you can possibly get, set up in a location and cook it up. It got to the point to where I'm like, God, how are we able to accommodate and feed all of these people? Where is all this food coming from? So we had people, donating, different foods and stuff. We cooked red beans, rice, hot dogs, and you try to cook the things that can stretch.
That's right.
You can feed and accommodate as many people as possible. Now, even with the food that you cook that can stretch.
But not only that, when you eat some red beans and rice, you know what I mean? That'll hold you for a few more hours. That'll hold you longer.
Right. It'll hold you long, and it's a hot meal. But what I'm saying is, like, that just go to show you, like, the amount of food that it takes to feed the amount of people that's in need at this particular time. It's crazy.
Right.
Because even with cooking a meal like red beans and rice that's supposed to stretch and coat, people's stomach and kind of like at least get them through a good little bit of the day, it's still not enough.
Right.
So it's like
so if people want to make donations to Culture Aid NOLA, what are the details on that? And then, I want to start trying to get y'all some money, some donations, and just let us know, because that's really what this call is all about. Let us know, those of us that are able to help, let us know what you need and how to help.
Yeah, I mean, for Culture Aid NOLA, you can just go to the website, which is, cultureaidnola.org, and donate. I mean, we are able to buy in bulk, thank God, through Second Harvest. So we're able to get really good prices for our food. We're in the process, thank God, through IDA, we got somebody to donate a refrigerator truck to us. So we're going to be able to, serve more people. We're definitely trying to create another location. So we just need funds definitely for just day-to-day operations of just buying food. That's what we're about. And we just want to buy as bulk as possible. We want to create more locations. And we just want to really spread the word about no barrier food banks, because that's what people should do. People should be able to walk up and get food if they need help. And that's why I just love that organization. So if people want to contribute, just please just give us, any donation you can. Anything helps us to help us buy more food and create more locations for our community.
And Mr. Fouchar, right now, in what part of New Orleans are you in?
Actually, I'm in Chalmette, Louisiana. It's maybe about 15 minutes away from New Orleans.
Got it. On what, to the west or to the east?
This is going more so east.
More so east. So on the other side of the water, on the other side of the bridge from New Orleans, right?
Well, the other side of the bridge from New Orleans is the West Bank side. This is like a little branch off from New Orleans. It's almost New Orleans.
So now the reason I ask is because I know, like, the way New Orleans is designed, the suburban areas outside of, I guess, the city, I'm told, got really hammered when the storm came through.
We call it the river parishes, okay?
The river parishes.
And they're prone to things like this here, especially the way our new levee system is set up, okay? You got to understand New Orleans to really understand the dynamic of that. Like when Katrina hit, we got the new levee system. And the new levee system pretty much, protects, New Orleans, our city. But what happens is the lower line parishes, which is like, I don't know if you're familiar with Homer, Louisiana, LaPlace, Louisiana, Thibodaux, Louisiana. These are places that is about 60-something miles, maybe south and west of Louisiana. And these parishes are the parishes that needs the most attention. New Orleans got affected, but more so it was more of power outages. But to go through these areas where like the eye of the storm came through, it devastated these areas.
So LaPlace got hit hard.
LaPlace got hit hard. When I tell you, just riding through there, like the devastation with the trees inside of homes and people that have been living there for years that had never got this type of action or activity and this type of catastrophic, to happen there was like, it's crazy. I mean, we had Katrina in 2005, which was about 16 years ago. And, this storm here, to me, I was here for the storm. I was in the middle of the street. I was 16 when Katrina hit. I was just a kid. As a grown-up, as an adult, I wanted to stay and witness, even though it was dangerous. I just wanted to stay and witness. And besides, I knew that my help would be needed down here. I would become one of those first responders. You understand? So just standing in that storm, in the wind, man, it was like I've never seen or felt anything.
Mother Nature's powerful, bro.
Just imagine wind coming through
and
at
I mean,
150-something miles an hour.
Oh, yeah. And Ebro, I think you touched on it when you first started the call about, whether you believe in global warming, climate change, whatever, another show, right? But for some reason, these storms are escalating faster. When I was growing up, we had time. You get out, you go to mandatory evacuation. You might wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by the afternoon, it's you wake up to a tropical storm. By the afternoon, it's a Category 3. Yeah. That is, for whatever's causing that, like I said, I'm not gonna, global warming is.
No, it's climate change. Listen, I said it's climate change. I don't care.
Yeah.
Listen, when y'all come on my program, people already know I don't give a damn. Listen, I listen to scientists. There's people out here who do this for a living. I'm listening to them. I'm not listening to you just because you got an elected job and
That's
a bunch
right.
of people voted you in because it was a popularity contest. I'm listening to science.
Yeah, so for these storms are just accelerating at a higher rate, right? So no one really has time to prepare, so now everyone's going to have to rethink their emergency plans. Everybody's going to have to rethink, the severity of hurricanes. This is real. I mean, you have to get out. But when you have a population, New Orleans dynamics, we have poor, elderly, people just don't have the money to evacuate. Like we said, I mean, it's just hard. So we're going to have to rethink how do we handle disasters and emergencies in New Orleans. And that's why it's so important to support organizations like what you're doing now, because we're going to be the first responders, and more people are going to stay, because where are they going to go? People can't just leave in a day or two and not know when they're coming back. And, whether you support the infrastructure bill or whatever you do in your politics, New Orleans, once again, Ida was a disaster because of an infrastructure failure once again in New Orleans. Our entire energy grid failed. I don't even know if that's ever happened in a history of a city, that your entire electrical grid just fails.
And they just did it in Texas. Remember that just happened in Texas. They got froze out. That was an infrastructure problem too.
Exactly. It's like, so once again, I didn't have to be as bad if we would have had a decent infrastructure, just like Katrina, right? The lights are still not on for some people, right? And it's just ridiculous. And you know what they're doing, Ebro? They're putting back up wooden poles. Now, I understand that's a temporary fix, but are you going to do something else? Because,
Well, now you get into who are the Louisiana state senators? Are they standing in the way of this infrastructure bill?
That's
right. Who are the people? Who are these representatives in the House that are down there representing New Orleans that go to the federal government and making sure that they understand, like, look, this needs to be fixed and we got to move this red tape out the way. I was told that the main one of our callers to our show, he listens all the time. He lives down in New Orleans. He called and told us that one of the main power things snapped off and it got thrown into the river. And that was.
Yeah, one of the transmission towers fell in the river, you know, and so it's just another, again, is once again, I'm glad that we are here to help people, but the call, once again, it was another infrastructure failure that caused people not to have powers for weeks and days, and then caused people refrigerate, so it's, once again, it's just like this recurrent cycle. Like, I'm glad that we're here to help, but I think people need to understand and take accountability and start, demanding change from their leaders, because we're going to keep being here, I mean, Ebro, yesterday, and I'm not, like, I love the mayor personally, but yesterday she asked everyone to empty their own trash. Like, bring your trash to the dump yourself.
Yeah.
What is that? The mayor literally said, put your trash in your car and bring it to the dump yourself.
Where the sanitation workers at?
I'm not
exactly. And I mean, we could get on it. I know the show is not about that, but I'm just trying to give you the level of why these organizations are important, because the leadership is struggling. I'm not here to judge her. I'm not there. I'm not going to play Monday morning quarterback. All I know is she asked the citizens of New Orleans to go dump their own trash yesterday.
Well, not only that, I live by the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And I believe, like you said, the system, it failed us once again. People weren't prepared for this. When the storm hit, what the mayor got on the news and said? It's too late to evacuate before the storm hit. And how long? It was hours before the storm hit, or a day before.
Yeah, it's too late, because you don't want to get people stuck on the interstate. So that's what I'm saying about global warming. Like, you don't want to call it a mandatory evacuation. Everyone's leaving, and then people are stuck on the road for the storm, because
Look, I want to let y'all understand something. Right here in New York City, the same storm that hit y'all,
I know, that was crazy,
made its way all the way up to New York City, across the country.
Yeah.
Still, we had tornadoes in South Jersey, down near Philadelphia.
Wow.
And which is 2 hours away from New York City, where people got flooded in their cars and in their basement in New York.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that was the same.
And nobody, there was flash flood warnings like an hour before. So if you missed that little alert on your phone, and in New York City, people live in basements. So you might have a 3-family home and they done turn the basement into an apartment that they rent to a family or whatever. That water come rushing in there from the street. You stuck in a basement. That happened.
Yeah.
People drown in their homes in New York City. And so while I know you guys are talking about what's going on in New Orleans, just to let y'all know, it's not much better in other places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about
there were people stranded on the freeway.
Yeah. In
stuck
subway,
in
I saw
floating
that.
cars because the water happened so fast.
I saw the flooded subways. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. And so, Ebro, so that's the problem. It's like, and I know, like I said, maybe another show, but there's just some systemic issues that just need to get addressed in our country. You know, it's like we're still a part of the United States. We're still a major city, and we are third worldish. And I'm going to say this because we have this is an honest show. You know, if you look at the definition of third world country and you match New Orleans, I'm sorry, it matches a lot of things.
Lack of resources, political corruption, infrastructure issues. And by the way, New Orleans been like that for a long time. Corrupt police. Listen,
you know, but I'm like Stephan and I, that's why I'm so glad you have the grassroots organizations. You have people in the street, because that's what's going to help change. You know, I'm not, you know, I said yesterday, I was like, where's the protest? Where's the outrage? When are people going to say this is not acceptable? You know, we should not live like this.
Enough of us.
And I don't know.
Strength is in numbers. Strength is in numbers. I mean, it's sad that everyday hardworking citizens that still have family, I got to think about it. I still didn't have lights. I still didn't have power. I was coming home to my house that was pretty much out of order, taken out of my time, because I couldn't stand to see these people struggle like this and go through what they were going through at the moment. So whatever I had in my pocket, whatever I had going on with my finances, I didn't even think twice. I hit the store every morning, 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning, because by the time the store opened at 8, we got a hour-long line. Man, I'm talking about working over 13 days straight on the ground, never getting up, traveling parish to parish to try to take care of these people, because once again, their government has failed them. I had city leaders and councilmen to call my phone and thank me and tell me, you know what? I'm glad that you came down, due to the fact that you opened the supposed to be leaders' eyes and made them realize, hey, if this is an everyday regular citizen doing this out of his own pocket, we supposed to, you know, they started feeling guilty, like we should be here. For Katrina, when Katrina happened in 2005, we had FEMA trucks, we had Red Cross trucks galore. We had them all over the entire city. As a grown man witnessing this, you know, in 2021, I don't know, man. It should have been more preparation. It should have been like even gas lines. When I just don't know. I feel like, you know, it should be something in place for when it's time to evacuate, for us, you know, backup tanks with gasoline in them. Man, people were waiting in gas lines for gas for hours to get to the front of the line, and they said they don't have any more gas.
Well, and as you guys both pointed out, the speed at which these storms happen, right? Like we hear about them. We all hear there's a new tropical storm, and they've given it a name. We don't know where it's going. They're watching it. They're monitoring it. They begin to give warnings, but we're not quite sure until hours before it's about to hit what type of impact it's going to make. And our whether it's here in New York City or all the way down in New Orleans. Preparation, infrastructure. We got to make that the new leadership. That's the new norm. Leadership. Yeah.
And that's just the thing. And so that's why it's the grassroots organization, just like the nonprofits who really care, is the ones who are taking care of the citizens. And so that's why it's so important to support them, you know, because we were the ones on the ground feeding. We were the ones who reacted within 6 hours. We are the ones who come up with strategic planning and say, how do we help our citizens? And so I thank God for that, you know, and so, you know, whatever's broken with the city, you know, I don't know if it's going to be fixed by this conversation or whatever, right? I mean, it's been broken for a while, but what we can do is support organizations that are doing things, you know.
Culture Aid NOLA. Look for them. Gian, thank you for your time. Stephan, thank you for your time today. And we're going to circle back around with y'all. And y'all got our information now, too. So never hesitate to just be like, hey, we're running low on this. We need a little backup on that. Y'all can reach out to us, okay?
Thank you so much for having us and supporting us.
No, absolutely. It's a lot of work to be done. Thank you for your time today. Y'all make sure y'all get down there, get to the internets, the IG, whatever, and support Culture Aid NOLA. Still doing work on the ground, still recovering down in New Orleans. Thank y'all for your time.